The first lesson in terms of basic Excel training is just kind of the idea of what's a basic Excel spreadsheet look like. So you should see on your screen, aside from me waving at you, you should see this Excel spreadsheet that I have that's divided into like a red area and a green area. And I called this Excel spreadsheet the don't do this spreadsheet. And that's because, oh, hi Perry, I wanted to show you kind of don't set up your spreadsheet in this way, but set up your spreadsheet in that way. And so let's talk about what that means. So the example I have here, I mean, there's a million different examples, but let's just go with one I have here, is that you have some information you want to record in Excel. And so this example says, yeah, I have 2 different locations for my business. I'm trying to keep track of some expenses. You know, I want to know how much we spent in January versus February. And this example spreadsheet of laying it out is not good. Red means not a good, bad. Okay, green means it's good, whereas this one is good. So what's the difference between those two? Well, there's a few things going on with the red spreadsheet. So let's talk about that. So the first thing with the one that's not good is that we see we have a title. So we have a title line here, location, January, February, and it's completely separated from the data. And this is the title of the columns. So when you're trying to say, what does this column contain? You don't want to separate it from the actual information. You want the title and the information side by side. Otherwise, what happens is when you do various things in Excel, all kinds of little tips and tricks that you might have learned along the way, or someone says, hey, try this, you'll find it doesn't work for you. And you're like, why doesn't this work? And it's because the spreadsheet set up not the best way possible. Okay, so I'm going to take you through some examples of things that won't work as good if you have the red versus the green. Okay, so let's start with, if I want to select a whole bunch of stuff. Now, I'm against the click and drag, so just so you know it up front, guys, I know everybody tries it, the click and drag stuff, I'm against it, so you can do it, just don't let me see it, and it's okay for small areas, but I'm going to show you all the shortcuts. So if I want to select a large area in Excel, or an area that's together in Excel, all I need to do is with my keyboard, hit Control Star or Control A. So Control Star selects an area that's together. Now look at the red area it's selected. It's like it's completely wrong. I don't want to select that. I want to select the location and the months and the list of expenses, but it didn't get my titles at all because of that blank line, which is a no-no. And it got this extra stuff on the side that I don't want it to get. I mean, I was just making some extra notes for myself. So that's the scenario. I want to show you the do not do this stuff. Don't put your extra notes right beside your data. Don't put blank lines above your headings for your data. So let's see what happens when I do that selection in here. So I'm going to click in the green area now and go Control Star. Oh, apparently I'm not hitting the right keys. Hang on, Control Star. There we go. It selected everything. Imagine that. It's set up for success. So it's selected everything because everything is together. It's contiguous. It's side by side. There's no blank columns. There's no blank rows. There's no weird stuff attached to it. So it's all together. So you might say to me, well, Connie, I don't care what you say. I'm never selecting like that. I like my click and drag. Okay, that's fine. That's fine to say that. But if you ever want to do a graph, or maybe you want to start using pivot tables because you're getting advanced, or you're trying to do filters to see different information, you're going to have troubles. So whenever you venture from the very, very basic stuff into a little bit more tough stuff, when you don't set up your spreadsheet the right way, trouble, trouble, trouble. Okay, so let's look at a couple of those examples. So you see on my spreadsheet here in the red, I have these little arrows. These arrows represent what's called a filter. So I'm just going to take them off, and that's the toolbar up here. Okay, and I'm going to put them back on, just so you can see how we get it. Okay, so if I go filter, and then I say, okay, I want to filter out stuff that's, maybe it's above 120. So if I click on the drop down, what? Where are all the numbers? Why don't I have any numbers here? Why is that not working? Let's cancel that. And let's try a filter down here. And of course, you know, I've set this up so I can show this to you. So I'm going to change the filter. And by the way, you can only have one filter on per row. So per row, that's not the right way of saying it. One filter in your spreadsheet, I guess is the way I want to say it. Because as soon as I said I wanted to do a filter over here, it took the filter off of there. So now I'm going to go back to this. I'm clicked on January, February in the green. And I'm going to go to filter again. And you see how I have those little arrows there. And now if I click on it, I have all the numbers, right? So now I can say, okay, I want it greater than 120. Hey, it works. See, green is good, red is bad. Okay, so that's another example for you. There's lots of examples, but what I'm trying to teach you here is that I would like you to set up your spreadsheet for success. And so the first rule of spreadsheets that I would teach in any class is let's get the data together that belongs together. If you have extra notes about something and you don't ever want it to be attached to that data, like this extra stuff here that I have, has nothing to do with supplies. It has nothing to do with insurance. So it needs to be somewhere else. So all I need to do is just move it over, right? So there's a separation between the data and this extra information. That's all you need to do. It's pretty easy. Okay, so that's one example that I wanted to show you. Sorting, I think I have another example here. So another example of a spreadsheet that I wanted to highlight today that some clients have come to me with, and I'm like, okay. They're like, how do I get this to work? And I'm like, you don't. It's your spreadsheet is not set up the right way. So let's look at this from the perspective of what we're trying to record here, what we're trying to keep track of. So this spreadsheet is where somebody, I just highlighted in color, but you know, it doesn't have to be. But it's really, we're talking about two different things in this spreadsheet. I have the weeks that people are working and who's working, and then I have the locations of different parts of our facility and who the staff member in charge of that location is. All of this is together. That makes no sense. Because June 1st, week 1 for Mary has nothing to do with the warehouse and Joe. This should not all be together. So first of all, it makes no sense. Second of all, it's not going to work when we get into any other feature that we want to use within Excel. If we want to start sorting this or doing the filter thing, it's going to make a mess of this, right? So you don't want to have information that doesn't belong together, right? So I wanted to show you this example because I see this way too often. You've got like, oh shoot, I can't remember the number now. I should know these by heart. You have thousands of rows that you can go across. Why are we trying to scrunch everything into one area? We don't need to. So get rid of that area. So I'm gonna just show you the things that can go wrong. So let's start with that. So if I go here and let's say I want to sort this, I'm just gonna go to my sort key at the top here. And it kind of looks all weird. I mean, I guess the locations all still stay together, but it's kind of weird, right? And maybe, okay, I'm going to undo that. Maybe what I wanted to do instead was I wanted to filter this. So I'm going to go over here to the filter. And now if I want to find out, hey, what's happening with Greg? And I want to filter out just Greg. Why is Jill showing up, right? Because Jill is not part of this scenario. So this information should not be in here. Right? It should either be separated by a column or in another sheet altogether. Put columns or blank columns where they belong to separate stuff and get rid of blanks where they are not separating the right stuff. So I'm kind of doing two different things here. I hope I'm not confusing you guys. So this one, I want to separate this information. So I'm just going to select this column and then I'm going to insert a column. Right? And I don't need I'll just leave it colored for now. But so now it wouldn't mess up. If I was doing sorting and stuff like that, it's not going to sort this stuff. I'm just going to take my filters off because we don't need those filters anymore. So I went to sort. So just notice this is all together. Let's just try the sort thing. Yeah, it didn't move any of this, right? When I separated it with that column. So this is, you need to add a column to make the spreadsheet work. And the other example I showed you is you need to take out a row could have done a column too, to make this spreadsheet work. Because when the data should be together, keep it together. Quit putting extra columns or rows in place. Okay, so that's lesson number 1. That's your basic beginner lesson. I hope that helps you. If you're watching this after the fact, then just give me a like or tell me what you think. If you're doing it well already, you're always in the green, then I'm happy for you. If you're in the red a little bit of the time, then hey, we all need to learn at some point. And I learn these things by making mistakes. That's why it's all red. I got too much red going on, so I want to change it to green.